drifting wreckage can be deadly as dynamite to small boats like mine. That's what I was on the lookout for, at the request of the United States Coast Guard. I'm Mike Nelson. I'm a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. From time to time, like now, after heavy storms, we help the regulars clean up the coastal waters. I didn't run across any debris, but I finally ran into what looked like trouble. The big seagoing cruiser was hove to broadside to the waves. No skipper would be guilty of such poor seamanship without good cause. Engine trouble, fouled up steering gear, or something of that sort. In any case, he'd probably need help. I circled the cruiser. There didn't seem to be any sign of life.
Anybody aboard? Anybody aboard? Hey, what do you think you're doing, mister?
I thought you needed some help.
I do not.
Can you get underway on your own?
Yeah. Get out of the way.
You don't argue with a high-powered rifle. Not if you have any other way of winning. I thought that I did. The cruiser rated investigation, I thought. But that was just a civilian opinion. I felt I should report it to the Coast Guard, so I called Commander Jim Greer. The commander heard me out carefully, but what interested him most was the cruiser's position. She was lying about 1,000 yards out from Hatter's Cove, a tiny little known inlet.
That's no man's land, Mike. You could build a missile launcher there, gantries and all. Nobody'd spot it for weeks. Over.
Well, isn't that reason enough to investigate?
Hardly. But that rifle business doesn't sound good. You'd better sheer off.
I haven't given you much of a basis for official action, have I?
No, you haven't. You think you could give him another look without getting shot?
I can try.
Very well, Mike. Check back with me the minute you can.
Two men in diving gear on board. I had no way of knowing what they were doing, but after the reception I got, I knew that it wasn't anything good. I decided to take an underwater look. Two divers were already in the water. One was obviously a beginner, being led by the other. They were heading toward the shore. Fortunately, they seemed so occupied with themselves, they didn't notice me. The smaller man made the team move so slowly that I had to stop to avoid catching up with him. I surfaced, the divers were already on shore. I noticed a speedboat anchored in the cove.
What were you trying, punk? To kill me? To drown me, huh? You know what would have happened to you? How you feeling? You okay? Yeah, I'm great. No thanks to you, though. I'm back again, see? I'm back again.
The face was familiar. The husky voice, too. I couldn't tie a name to them, but something told me that it was a bad one. I was never so right in my life.
Who's that? It's Danny.
Mr. T. Good to see you.
Well,
Welcome home.
Danny, the size of you.
It's been 5 years, Mr. T.
Yeah, but like 50 on the other side.
Now it all came back. The Crime Commission hearings. And their prime target, this same Mr. T. He entered this country illegally and operated illegally until he was deported. Now he was back, again illegally. Why?
We got a lot to make up for, kid.
You will. You'll have to take it slow, of course.
Why?
As Paul says, things have changed.
Paul, he hasn't changed. He's still chicken. But I'm going to change things back. With this, the old persuader. Well, what are you waiting for? Where's my clothes?
Paul's bringing them. He'll be here with the car any minute.
What was I waiting for? I had to inform the authorities immediately.
Hold it!
Hey, you turn around. Turn around! Hey, that's the guy that was nosing around the cruiser today.
Yeah, you're right.
Danny, he knows how I got in.
Oh, yeah?
What are you waiting for? This joker's got to go.
I was just listening for the car. It's a tough place to find, you know.
Well, it sounds like they found it.
Yeah,
Hey, you know what, Danny? We'll let Paul take care of him, huh?
sure. Through the tunnel, Paul.
Hello, Paul. Where's my clothes?
Right here. Come in, boys.
My one thought was to escape underwater fast. Instinctively, I pulled the helpless gangster to safety with me. I knew that it was my responsibility to turn him in alive if I could, and he was in no position to refuse any kind of help. We moved out as fast and as far as we could. I figured we'd have enough air to stay underwater until we reached my boat.
Don't waste ammo.
I'm not so sure, Paul. We may have hit him.
That boat over there, it might be that diver's. Could be where he's taking Mr. T. All right, here it is. You two, set yourselves up on that hill behind this cove. They stick their heads out anywhere between here and that boat. Chop them off. You miss too, and I'll stick those fancy scopes down your throats. Now move.
Gone quite a distance, maybe far enough. I signaled Mr. T to surface so we could get our bearings. Those shots came so fast and so close. I didn't have time to look around.
You run that putt-putt?
Sure.
Come on, then.
My newfound buddy, Mr. T, didn't like it, but that was just too bad. We had to get to my boat, and we had to stay underwater all the way. There, I thought we'd be safe, for a while at least. Then something came along to kill that idea, fast. The speedboat. Mr. T's executioners, on their way out to finish the job. Two gunmen, intent on killing Mr. T, and me too, are approaching my boat.
You hit it all right. This is his boat. Nice. Too bad he had to tie in with Mr. T. Too bad for him.
Hasn't cost him anything so far except a bath. Those hotshot riflemen missed them both by a country mile. Want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. I guess I'll have to stick around in this tub till that diver comes up with Mr. T.
Okay, I'm gonna stretch out. It's a Coast Guard boat.
What? Coast Guard Auxiliary.
This joker only happens to be a flotilla commander.
Anything else?
Two-way radio. Want to bet he didn't flash the Coast Guard before he took the bath?
You handled that little boat pretty good. You handle this one?
Yeah, what's the deal?
I think he did call the Coast Guard. We're getting out of here before they show.
What about Mr. T? If we don't get him now, he'll get us.
Maybe. If we stick around, no maybe. That Coast Guard packs artillery. Come on, get with it.
Anything yet?
No, sir.
How long's it been now, exactly?
Last contact made at 15:18. 25 minutes ago, sir.
Well, that's not so long. We'll be hearing from him soon. You keep me informed.
Aye, aye, sir.
Mr. T would have been a problem in 6 feet of water with unlimited air. Out here in deep water, with his air running out, he became a menace to life. His own and mine. He deserved whatever lay waiting upstairs, but I couldn't let him face it alone. My boat was nowhere in sight. The riflemen were. From the beginning, Mr. T had been afraid of the water. But now he was really panicking. It was all I could do to handle him. There wasn't any time to argue. I had to use force. Finally, I knocked some sense into him. They kept firing for another few minutes. Then they stopped. Now our air was just about used up. We had to surface, hoping we were out of range.
What's the matter? Why'd we stop?
We had to.
They're not shooting anymore.
No, we're out of range.
Hey, that's great. Great, man. Listen, I won't forget you for this. Just see the minute you get me back to shore.
I'd be lucky to get myself to shore now.
Look, I'm in on your boat.
He's gone.
Don't rip me. I don't like it, man.
No, she's gone just the same.
What are we going to do? Maybe another boat will come along.
Yours was the first boat I'd seen all day.
Well, what are we going to do?
Float. I can't float. You can with a wetsuit on. Here, let me take your weight belt off.
No report from Nelson yet?
No, sir.
It's been nearly an hour now. You better try and raise him again.
Argonaut the 2nd, WM2050. This is Coast Guard radio. Over. Argonaut the 2nd, WM2050. This is Coast Guard radio. Come in, please.
You know what I got stashed away on the other side? 2 billion, 3 billion, I don't know myself for sure. Well, 10% of it is yours if you get me out of this, so help me. 25%. Well, what do you want, for Pete's sakes? Tell me and I'll get it for you.
Shut up! Save your strength. I'll keep us alive as long as I can. 10 million won't buy you a minute more.
Argonaut the 2nd, WM2050. This is Coast Guard radio. Come in, please. Want me to keep trying?
No, he'd have responded by now if he could. There's a helicopter standing by. I'm going out there.
Take it easy now. Come on, get on your back again. Come on. All right. Relax.
This is it, Hatter's Cove. Due north now, low and slow.
Come on! Take it easy now. You hear me?
about. There's no sign of Nelson's boat, so we might as well turn back.
Very well. Roger.
Mike?
I am now.
What happened?
It's a long story. I'll tell you when we get back to the base.
We're not going back.
Give me that gun.
Are you kidding? You better tell that guy to head back to shore. Get over there, you.
Give me that gun.
You got 3 seconds to tell him your buddy here knows I don't kid around.
Will you give me that gun?
You better shout him and tell him to go. No!
And overboard. Take it down. What's it all about, Mike? Who was he?
You remember a guy by the name of Vincent Turner who was deported several years ago? Well, that's who it was. We're going to start up his dirty business all over again.
Looks like he didn't quite make it. That fall would have killed anybody. Lieutenant called for a cutter. Tell him to recover the body.
Yeah, tell him to keep an eye peeled for my boat on the way.
You got that, Lieutenant? Tell him to pick up Mike Nelson's boat.
Roger.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges, inviting you to join us for another action-packed story of underwater adventure 1 week from today.
was working with the Coast Guard as a special examiner, helping to complete an investigation into a ship sinking. The ship was a Belgian vessel, the SS Liège, which went down in a collision close to shore. On the surface above, a Coast Guard cutter stood by as my base of operations. Assisting me was the only surviving officer of the Liège, Henrik Maas. Maas had been hailed for remaining at his post on the sinking ship up to the very last minute. I had just about completed my series of dives, confirming certain facts about the collision. I had also found that the vessel was not too badly damaged, and that much could be salvaged. I started for the surface again. I didn't realize then how much there was to be salvaged. One huge fortune, and at least 2 lives. And that the key to it was the man standing right at my elbow. Henrik Maas was being very careful to give no cause whatsoever for suspicion concerning his integrity or his real purposes. When the cutter docked back at the Coast Guard base, the first man aboard was an old friend, Lieutenant Commander McStay. He was accompanied by another man.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Commander.
Well, what shape's you in, Mike?
Not bad at all. And the impact was just where you thought it was going to be. Got the whole thing charted. There's a lot of debris that's blocking some parts of the ship. See, I've indicated the areas there for you. But I think we can still get into the main cabins.
Fine, Mike. Mike, I'd like you to meet Mr. Farber. What you say will be very good news to him.
Mr. Farber, nice to know you.
Mr. Nelson.
Oh, Mr. Maas, Mr. Farber.
Ah, Comrade Maas. Well, we honor you for your example of devotion to duty. Mr. Nelson, the purser's cabin, it can be entered.
I think so. Why?
Mr. Farber has permission to begin a special salvage operation at the earliest date. Well, that means getting through the purser's cabin quickly.
I am prepared to pay you well for your services, Mr. Nelson. How long do you think it will take to clear the way to the purser's cabin?
Well, you don't want me. You want a hard hat diver. Somebody who can stay down for a long time, who has an unlimited supply of air. See, there's a lot of junk down there that's got to be cleared out of the way before we can get into that cabin.
Imagine you recommending a hard hat diver. I thought you scuba divers looked down your noses at those fellas in the steel derbies.
We get along all right. There's a few jobs that they can do better than we can. Jobs that call for persistence rather than mobility. And this is one of them. I'll be glad to recommend several good hard hats to you.
Thank you. I hope that you will be available, too.
Yeah, I'll be glad to help out if I can. Commander McStay knows that.
Mr. Farber's after's in the purser's safe. That will have to be cut open by torch.
Well, any good hard hat diver can do that. Maybe that won't be necessary. Mr. Maas, do you have the combination for that safe?
Only the captain and the purser knew the combination, and they are both dead. It's a secret they kept to themselves. It was not shared by the other officers. I'm sorry.
That's too bad. Would have saved us a lot of time. Have you any objections to telling us what's in that safe?
Mr. Farber's a diamond merchant from Antwerp. Now, that safe contains more than $1 million worth of gems. Belonging to Mr. Farber.
I want those gems, Mr. Nelson, before any other salvager can get them.
We'll do everything we can to get them for you, Mr. Farber.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
A few days later, a tug was moored over the wreck. I was aboard with Cliff Hodges, the hard hat diver that we had selected, and Johann Farber. It'll be a tough job clearing that junk out of the way, but once you've accomplished that, that'll be clear sailing.
Okay, Mike, I'll do my best. Gentlemen, please. Time is slipping by.
It's not long now. We're about ready.
Hi. Hello, Mr. Nelson.
What are you doing out here?
You were not expecting me?
No.
But I came out as soon as I got your message.
Message? What message? I didn't send any message. Oh, I sent you a message about a week ago.
It must be the same message still on my dresser.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry. You know, I've had the same thing happen to me.
But how's it going?
You're starting.
As long as I'm all the way out here, is there anything I can do to be of assistance?
Oh, why not? After all, you know the ship better than any of us. You mind sticking around for a little while?
No, not at all. I'm in no hurry.
Well, come on aboard. We'll put you to work right away.
Fine.
Cliff, this is Henrik Moss.
How you do?
Cliff Hodges.
How do you do?
Yeah, give me a hand with that. Okay. You all right, boy? Decapitate the man before we get him down there. Here. Let's get this around here. Knew that it was very unlikely that his crowbar could spring open the door of the safe, but there was no harm in trying. Neither water damage nor anything else had weakened it. Time that he surfaced. I was waiting eagerly to hear his report. There was another pair of ears, waiting even more eagerly.
Were you able to get in?
No, Mike. I was fooling with the dial. I used the crowbar on the door. She's still solid.
That's a shame.
What we need is the underwater torch.
Yeah.
Did you get mine fixed?
No, but it'll be ready for you by the time we have chow and get a little rest. It's time for you to knock off, huh? Until 2 o'clock?
I can use it.
Lunchtime? I hadn't realized. So I'm due back in the city at 1:30. I must go.
Oh, I'm glad you came out. Think you'll be back later?
Well, I'll try. Whatever I can do, I want to do. Maybe you could wait for me a little while.
Oh, not for long. Gotta keep going on this, you know.
Bye.
I'll take care of that. I'll throw you, Paula. Had no lunch date in town. On the contrary, he had plans of another nature entirely. He anchored his boat off Boulder Beach. The only thing which wasn't in his plan was a loose anchor line. A few minutes later, he emerged from the cabin in full diving gear.
WM2052, this is Coast Guard Radio, over. WM2052, this is Coast Guard Radio, over.
WM2052, this is Coast Guard Radio, over.
Coast Guard Radio, this is WM2052, over.
Mike, Commander McStay, glad I got you.
What's up, Commander?
That third mate, Moss, wasn't he out there with you this morning? He told me he was going out to see you.
Yeah, he just left.
Well, we've just had a report about a boat he rented drifting empty, Boulder Beach.
Boulder Beach? That's just around the point from where we are.
I'm on my way out there now, but in the meantime, could you go over and have a look? You're the closest man we've got.
Sure, will do. WM2052, out. Something's happened to Mars. The Coast Guard wants me to check. If I'm not back in 20 minutes, go ahead without me, huh?
All right, Mike.
I took off in search of the missing third mate, not even suspecting that he was deliberately on his way to what might be murder. I was on my way to Boulder Beach in search of a drifting boat. A boat that had been rented by the third mate of the sunken SS Liege, and from which it had now been reported that he was missing. Little did I know that while I was heading toward his boat, Moss was swimming in the opposite direction underwater, right back toward the sunken freighter. I had no trouble finding Moss's boat. The tide had not taken it far. In the meantime, Moss was farther than ever from me, closer than ever to the freighter. I, of course, didn't know this. I was searching for a missing man. checked the cabin and found his clothes. I didn't know what to make of them, because I had no idea that Mas was a diver. I searched the sea for some sign of a swimmer, or worse thought, a body. I saw nothing. Now I was convinced that Mas was overboard. I decided to search for him underwater. Mas, in the meantime, had reached the freighter. He had been waiting for just one development. For a job to be finished that he couldn't do himself. For the debris to be cleared away so that the purser's cabin could be entered. Mas had told us that only the dead captain and purser had known the combination to the safe. He had lied. He had known it all along. Now he was so excited at the prospect of getting to the jewels first that his fingers were all thumbs. I started searching the immediate vicinity. I wasn't aware that the current was dragging me back in the direction of the sunken freighter.
Get me the torch.
The gems were literally in Mas's hands now. But time was running out, and tragedy was about to close in, fast. Fortunately, as I searched, the current continued to sweep me toward the freighter. Mas panicked when he heard Cliff hit the deck. He knew that he couldn't get out without being discovered. But for $1 million worth of gems, he was willing to do anything. Job cutting through the air hose and safety line. But Mas was desperate now. When he felt his air go, Cliff instinctively closed his intake valve. saw. But I had no time to think. Moss was ready to kill the only witness to his crime, me. In the meantime, Cliff was trapped. He took the only course that he could. He settled down to conserve the air trapped in his suit. I knew that the Coast Guard would be in the vicinity by now. I was sure they'd take care of him. Then I raced for the ship to find out what might have happened to Cliff. The cut air hose told me everything. Cliff probably was dead. But I was counting on something that I remembered from my Navy days. There might still be a chance. Even when his hose is cut, a hard hat diver, by closing his air valve, can live for several minutes on the air left inside his suit. I shoved the air hose into the arm of the suit and held it tightly in place. The new air was taking effect. The odds were shifting back in his favor.
How you feel, boy? That was a close one. How about that character over there?
You get anything out of him?
He's not in a very conversational mood, but that's not important. He's run his belt, the jewels from the safe. That's all the explanation any jury will need.
Well, then I guess he's all yours. And you know something? You're very, very welcome to him.
Let's go.
I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is certainly a lot of fun, and it's full of adventure. See some more of it again next week, huh? When there'll be another excursion into that fabulous underwater world of Sea Hunt. This is one of the country's great ports. It's filled with every kind of vessel, civilian and military. I'm Mike Nelson. I was cruising through the harbor as I'd often done for pleasure. This time it wasn't for fun, though. I was one of many members of the Coast Guard Auxiliary who had volunteered to help check everything afloat. They were looking for something that could touch off a fuse, something that could lead to the biggest Holocaust in history. The United States was playing host to a strongman, the ruler of one of the world's most powerful countries, a man with many enemies. Intelligence had picked up rumbles of a plot against him. Our country had the tough responsibility of protecting him during his stay. My job was to help in assuring that nothing happened to him here. It was a big harbor, and big trouble could be tucked into any little corner of it. I had many friends in the port, some working on the same assignment, others with no idea that I was on serious business. I had just made my morning's report. I was wanted on Marine radio, on the double. The message was from my friend, Coast Guard Commander Jack Carter. I couldn't waste any time. He told me something not yet publicly known. Despite all the big preparations, the visiting dictator had insisted on stopping in a small resort down the coast. He would land in a harbor not yet checked out by security. Jack needed me fast, ready to dive. An hour later, I was underwater checking the harbor of the resort. Even in this small space, there were more hiding places for trouble than I cared to think about. There was rocky bottom, there was sand, and there was enough kelp to hide a small submarine. There were man-made objects in the bottom, too, such as this old boiler from a wreck. I hadn't found anything, and how could I be certain that nothing was there?
How's it look?
Well, so far, so good. Won't be long now, huh?
Just be happy when it's over and done. We can't even start to relax till he's been here and gone.
A couple of things down there I'd like to photograph for the security boys. They might recognize something that I've overlooked.
Such as?
Well, there's an old boiler down there, for one thing. It was torn loose of a wreck by a hurricane.
Well, what about it?
That might be rigged. It might be booby-trapped. Something could be hidden inside of it. I think security ought to know about it.
Boilers, booby traps. Why did he have to come here, Mike? Look out there. Look at that harbor. It's a hard spot to protect. It's wide open. Tourists, fishermen, boatmen, people who make their homes there. How are we going to keep them out?
I guess we can't.
Of course not. We shouldn't even try. They have a right to be there. But any one of those people, Mike, any one of them could start something, either accidentally or on purpose. Any one of those people could trigger an international catastrophe.
So I better get back to work, huh?
Yeah.
Our attention, our thoughts, were concentrated on what might be underwater. We were unaware what was happening on shore. We were being observed.
Wow! Dig this, Moby Dick, will you please? I gotta split the seam.
Now, the boiler looked harmless enough. Just a part of a long, forgotten wreck. But it would be a perfect place to hide a bomb. It could be exactly timed, remotely controlled, or even rigged to go off with the sound of a plane on the water. I was convinced that nothing was there. But there's no substitute for the careful analysis of photographs.
No, nothing yet, but I'll keep looking for him. Yes, if I see her, I'll make sure she returns at once. You tell security to tighten their harbor watch. I don't want any more slip-ups. Got it.
Like, hello! I dug your action. What's the scene, man? And why the Captain Hornblower? I'm Sam Spady and the other cat. I like Flip when I dug his flippers. We could make beautiful music together.
I'm sorry, miss. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to return to the pier at once. You see, this area is temporarily restricted.
I dig. Mr. Big is postmarked for here by magic carpet. Like, the whole orchestra's tuning up for the blast.
Blast?
Blast! It means welcome. Like, everybody's excited about the big cat's visit. Like, it's simple. Don't you dig? It's plain English.
Once again, miss, I'm sorry, but I'll have to insist you return to that pier.
I know. Tell the other cat he's been lensed by Susie. Like, wow. Dig you later, man.
Susie Turner was still looking for me underwater. She saw a diver, but it wasn't Mike Nelson.
my photographs and was ready to return to the boat. Unfortunately, I wasn't the only one who thought the boiler would make a good hiding place.
Get him?
Yeah, from every angle.
I better rush him to security right away.
Good idea. Is that plane still on schedule?
Whole orchestra's tuning up for the blast.
What'd you say?
Never mind, you'll find out.
Blast? I'll get the sandwiches and meet you at headquarters. I'm anxious to hear what security says about those pictures I took.
Right.
Hi.
Hi.
Like you sure took your time sailing across the briny. I've been cooling it since, Captain Bligh made me walk the gangplank. I felt like Cuckoo, the bird girl. But I'm back in orbit now. Like, you had that special look. Like, I did. Like, we're in the same key.
This is what I meant when I said you'll find out. Cuckoo the bird girl was out to the boat looking for you. The security was looking for her. I had to send her in before the fireworks started. See you later, man. I mean, I'll dig you later, alligator. Excuse me.
Bye.
Well, thanks just the same, but it'll spoil my appetite. I'm on my way to lunch.
Like, what's your name?
White Nelson.
Crazy. I'm Susie Turner.
Yeah, well, nice knowing you, Susie. I'll see you around, huh?
Like when?
Well, like in about 5 years.
Mike? How come your cats are always busy digging seaweed? Like, I saw a seaweed-loving friend of yours making with the fish when I took the flyer to your boat. Like, he's carrying the craziest-looking metal box.
Well, that crazy box was a special camera that I use on the water. It was me.
Like, I ought to know when I'm digging you and when I'm not. This cat put me down. One look at me and he, like, cut out fast. Besides, he was smaller than you and he had dark hair.
You sure you saw another diver down there?
Like, it wasn't Max the Knife Dad. And if that was the camera he was carrying, it was the craziest-looking camera I ever saw.
Susie, can you keep a secret?
Like I'm a sphinx.
All right, I'll tell you what you do. You get over to North Point Beach and, well, just keep your eyes open. Huh? If you see anything strange, get out of there fast.
Crazy, Mike. Like, I'm already on my way.
I sent Susie on her errand mostly to get rid of her. I didn't realize that it would prove to be one of the most important things that I'd ever done.
A dictator visiting the United States was going to land in a small harbor. There had been almost no notice, and I had been called in for a frantic security check, underwater. My photographs had been carefully studied. They revealed nothing. But the diver Susie saw, or thought she saw, was something else.
I wouldn't give too much credence to what she says. She's just a crazy kid. So maybe you misunderstood what she said because of all this bebop talk, whatever it is.
Oh, I thought so at first, too. But she even described that other diver to me. Said that he was smaller than I was, had dark hair, and was carrying a small metal box-shaped object.
That doesn't sound too good.
It sure doesn't. You know, it's possible that whoever it was got through before they finished stringing the sonar installations in the harbor.
Sure, it's possible. But if that's the case, why isn't sonar picking him up right now?
Well, it's also possible that he got out before they finished stringing him, too. You know, my first thought was that maybe the Coast Guard or the Navy had other divers in that area.
Definitely negative on Coast Guard. However, we are checking Navy intelligence.
You think it's possible that he might be able to postpone his visit?
Mike, I wish it would. Now, with the kind of orders I have, Come in. Thank you. That'll be all, no answer. Well, the Navy doesn't have any other divers in the area.
Well, that settles that.
But they're going to have, Mike. I'm going to put in a call for one. I want the two of you to scour every square inch of this harbor.
Okay, Roger.
If there is another diver, if he's still there, sonar will pick him up. But if he's finished his work and gone, it's up to us to find out what he was working on.
How much more time have we got?
I'm afraid that's the catch. We're only going to have 1 hour, 8 minutes, and about 36 seconds.
The Navy diver and I were searching underwater. For whom or what, we didn't know. We started with the pier area, the place where a bomb could do the most damage. All we had to go on was Susie's description of what the diver carried, if there was a diver. A small metal box. To split up. The Navy diver would search in one direction, and I would search in the other. I was beginning to think that maybe Carter had been right after all. Maybe Susie Turner was nothing more than a crazy kid with an even crazier imagination. The Navy diver and I agreed to meet back at my boat, and I was a couple of seconds overdue now.
discovered 2 divers holed up in a cave at North Point Beach.
North Point Beach? That's where I sent Susie.
Oh, she's all right. They got her, too. She's at Coast Guard headquarters. Mike, they had evidence of 3 divers. One's missing, the other 2 won't talk. Security's afraid they planted a bomb somewhere in or around the harbor.
What are you going to do?
Well, we don't have any choice. We don't find that 3rd diver, and soon we evacuate the entire area, civilian and military. Now, we can reroute the landing party. We'll bring them in north of here at that emergency landing field.
What's your deadline for evacuation?
About 15 minutes.
When Susie saw that other diver down there, I was photographing the boiler. I still think that'd be a great place to hide a bomb.
It's worth another look.
Yeah, but 15 minutes, I don't know if it'll give me time. Can you hold off security?
I don't know, but I'll try. You go ahead.
Okay, we'll split up, huh? I'll take the boiler.
Roger.
I headed straight for the boiler. At first, I thought it might be the Navy diver. He hadn't seen me. The only chance that I had of discovering what he was up to was to watch. I decided to hang back and follow him. I was right, and so was Susie. He had gone back to the boiler to recover a rectangular-shaped metal box. I knew it must be a bomb. Before I knew what had happened to him, he was on top of me. He drew his knife and lunged at me. I made a screen of sand and got behind him. I didn't waste any time getting him to the surface. I had to get back to disarm that box.
Well, it's almost over. I don't mind telling you, I'm really thankful. You know, even though it was a small bomb, Mike, it could have leveled this entire harbor area. If you hadn't found that fellow, a lot of people could have lost their lives. It might have been a major disaster.
Well, I was lucky.
Aye. Right on schedule. Yeah. Better get down there. So long, Mike.
So long.
Speaking of disasters, I'll dig you later, alligator.
Man, you sure bug me.
What?
Like I told you to cut out the signs of any caper.
Huh?
Like the grapevine has it. You were digging those cats with the seaweed from down under while they were playing it cool in a cave on the beach. Like you don't know when to split the scene, man. Like Squaresville, man. You know, Squaresville? Like from now on, I'll do my own Sam Spade.
Mike, you dig English.
Like what else? Like right now, I'm heading for a mound of the old cool, blanketed with rocks and white, and topped with a heap of rich, juicy red.
A raspberry sundae. Crazy, man. Like, it's my favorite.
Well, so what are we waiting for? Like, be my guest? Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. You know, 3/5 of the world is covered by the sea. And how little most of us know about that underwater world. Go below with us again next week, huh? For another thrilling adventure in Sea Hunt.